Welcome back to another episode of Georgia Sports Nation. I got some more Hawks and Braves content on the way for you guys today. We're going to be discussing the Texas Rangers series, impressive series win by the Braves, in which they won the first and third game of the series. The power bats were really out. Acuna, Kevin Pillar, Marcell Ozuna, all of those guys showed their power on this recent road trip, and especially in Texas. The second game, Adolis Garcia really hurt the Hawks with 2 home runs. He extended his MLB best RBI total as they lost 7-4, and the Braves bounced back 6-5 in the series finale as Eddie Rosario hit a homer and a clutch 9th inning heroic homer by Orlando Arcia to give the Braves the 6-5 win. We're gonna try and forget that the series up in Toronto over last weekend kind of didn't happen. That was a lot of weird stuff happened last weekend in Toronto. The Braves got swept. We couldn't communicate on fly balls. The pitching wasn't there. The offense was not there in 2 of the 3 games. And probably the worst series of the year for the Braves. But I'm glad they bounced back. And in a battle of 2 first-place great teams, the Braves come out with a series win versus Texas. So without further ado, let's get into this first game more. So as I told you, the power bats were out. Kevin Pillar and Ronald Acuna each with a 2-run homer, and then Orlando Arcia, Riley, and Marcell Ozuna also followed with 2-run homers of their own. So 5 2-run homers to just blank the Texas Rangers 12-0 in that first game. Charlie Morton's been on a resurgence as of late. He's 5-3 now. He struck out a season-high 10 men. That curveball was really working. That back foot curveball that he throws to get a lot of swings and misses to lefties. He's really not hitting as many batters this year as he did last year, and it's really helping him just gain control. He almost finished 7 innings, but couldn't quite get through that last out in the 7th inning. So he did wound up going 6 2/3, but nonetheless, really impressive start and shut out by the Braves with the bullpen led by with Charlie Morton. The Rangers really could never figure out the Braves offense. Cole Ragans came in after Cody Bradford's major league debut was really spoiled by the early 2-run homers by Kevin Pillar and Acuna, but Ragans really didn't stop the bleeding from there as the Braves were able to put up 12 runs on the board. Let me fix this camera here. Okay, there we go. So with the Braves and that first game, Charlie Morton actually pitched his first game in Global Life Field since the 2020 World Series when he was obviously back with the Rays. It was it was a good year for the Braves in the regular season, but all of us, I'm sure, remember when the Braves unfortunately choked that 3-1 lead to the Dodgers that year, and the Dodgers went on route to beat the Rays in the World Series. Brian Snitker was real proud of this win. He said it was a big win, and we let one get away Sunday, and the Braves did. In that last game against Toronto, Raisel Iglesias came in to close the game when the Braves were up by 1. Toronto proceeded to load the bases, and then Danny Jansen hit a walk-off single, scoring the final winning 2 runs. But it was great to see the bats and the pitching both bounce back in the same game. And that was, I think, the biggest thing so far in the first game against Texas. Lately, Matt Olson and Austin Riley, the 2 guys that really had hot starts to the season in the first couple weeks, have been struggling the last couple. Olson definitely has been struggling hitting the ball the other way. He's been whiffing on a lot of pitches. He leads the league in strikeouts and only has 227 bat average right now, unfortunately. But we saw a couple signs in the last game again in Texas where he's starting to feel like himself. Olson had a gapper double to the left center field. I think that was the key hit for Olson to say, okay, maybe I'm finding something here. And as well as Austin Riley. Austin Riley went to the opposite field, right center field, and had a home run in that 12-0 game. So when you have that opposite field power that we know Riley and Olson have had in their careers, Austin Riley, that's a big sign for him. Marcelo Zune just keeps on raking. He's having an incredible month right now. He leads the league in homers in the month of May. And Kevin Pillar continues to just be great when his name is called upon. He's had a power surge as well after a great revenge series, if you want to call it, in Toronto. And lastly, we'll get to Michael Harris here. He really has never gotten in a rhythm this season. We have Michael Harris last year winning the Rookie of the Year, but this year his ground ball rate is up, his strikeout rate is up, and unfortunately, he's really when he's making hard contact, it's not getting lucky. It's not finding a hole. I know in that last game against Texas, he hit a 107-mile-per-hour liner with a 570 expected batting average and lined it right to the right fielder for an out. That's just unfortunate. But that's what it seems like when you're in a slump and you hit the ball hard, it finds a glove. That's really what seems to always happen. So hopefully Michael can get out of this soon, and we'll see the Michael Harris that won the Rookie of the Year with opposite field doubles, singles, even that opposite field power, which his first few home runs of his career were. And lastly, in the 9th spot, Orlando Arcia. He continues to be incredible. Since coming back, that homer, like I mentioned in the 3rd game of the series, basically won the game after some not so great pitching late in the game, but he's just been amazing. There's really nothing you can say about it. Glad to have him back, and the defense from him has been stellar, like it always is. As we jump into the 2nd game here, this was kind of the opposite of the last game. 4 runs by the Braves, that's all right, but really the Rangers were able to jump on Jared Schuster, and there isn't much to say about Jared Schuster's start so far this year, other than that he struggled early in the games. Now, it's always been the first inning before this, and the first inning was good from him, but after that first inning, he kind of struggled. So it was really the polar opposite of his first couple starts in the big leagues. I mentioned Adolis Garcia, who, and in my opinion, he is a beautiful swing, by the way. Probably top 5 in the league for me to watch. He's just a fun guy to watch in general, as he plays good, as he plays well defensively, and he also is able to drive the ball over the fence out of the ballpark. And he really was the guy that drove in all the runs. Dane Dunning for the Rangers has been really solid in the rotation. He's now had 4 quality starts in a row. And Ezekiel Duran, who's really impressed me the final 2 games of this series, had a 2-run moonshot to really put the game out of reach when the Rangers went up 7-4. Duran got another start because Corey Seager was on the IL. And when you got Corey Seager, a star shortstop on the IL, when Ezekiel Duran can fill in for what he did in this series, the defense he played as well as the bat in the final 2 games, you'll get that if you're Bruce Bochy and the Texas Rangers. Corey Seager was back in the 3rd game. He didn't have the greatest at bats, but still he's going to be back in for the Texas Rangers and the Braves, who both are first in their divisions and at 26 and 16 records. It's great that the Rangers are getting healthier, but the Braves are not getting any healthier, unfortunately, as we'll see here in a few minutes. Ronald Acuna in this game homered for the 3rd game in a row, and spoiler alert, if you watch the 3rd game, you know that he homered for a 4th game in a row. The ball is just jumping off his bat. He's stealing bags at a prolific rate. When he's on first, when he's on second, it doesn't matter. So Ronald's just really looking like he's on track so far, early favorite to win MVP. Jared Schuster now 0-2, and unfortunately, he hasn't really found a rhythm. He didn't walk a lot of guys in this start, but really it's location. He doesn't throw very fast, so when you miss and you only throw a low 90s fastball, you can get hurt pretty well. You can get hurt pretty bad. So and that's really what he did. As we have Will joining us here today. Will, you there?
Yeah, what's going on, Mikey? What's happening?
Yo, we're just doing a quick show here for recapping this Texas Rangers series. So, what did you think overall in this series, and trying to kind of a bounce back series after a disastrous Toronto Blue Jay series?
Well, we missed out on another sweep. We could have swept the Rangers too. We missed out on a lot of opportunities. But I don't know. It was a good series. It was a good series. I need us to cut down on the strikeout rates though. We're striking out a lot.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So, but Ronald Acuna continue to tear the cover off the ball. He's stealing every base that he can. So soon you turn your eyes on him, he gone.
Yep.
So we got Arcia is a sight for sore eyes. I can't tell you how glad I am that man back on the field.
Yeah, it's so refreshing to have a great defensive shortstop as well. Just after Vaughn Grissom didn't really play to his liking up here in the major leagues this year.
He showed us he got a lot of growing to do. He still got a lot of growing to do.
Yeah, and he has a bright future. I know he's going to do well in the big leagues, but just maybe not the right time for him yet.
He got a bright future, but the light's too bright for him right now. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
Cause like I said before, he tear it up down there in Gwinnett, but he get up here to these bright lights, man. Hey, something else changed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. And in the second game, Jonah Heim continues to extend his hitting streak. This is a career-long, now 14 games, the longest active streak in the majors. And with Marcus Semien and former Brave Robbie Grossman's back-to-back singles in the seventh, it really put away the game when the Braves couldn't come back as to kind of jump on with Ezekiel Duran's long two-run homer to left center field. As we jump into the third game here, this game was back and forth. Eddie Rosario hit an early two-run homer to put the Braves up, and Orlando Arcia really finished the job by mashing a two-run homer, or a solo homer to the opposite field, right center field bullpen. That was huge. And that's literally what Austin Riley said. He said that was huge right there. It's good. It's a good win going into an off day. And yeah, the Braves had an off day yesterday. We begin a series at home.
Yeah.
Finally back home with the Seattle Mariners.
Seattle.
It's going to be an exciting series.
Yeah, I just want them to take. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I just want them in this series, man. No, let me just take a breath. Take smart approaches at the plate. We know the baseball season is a long season. You know what I mean? So we just got to grind it out. And I need Snicker to be a coach, man. Stop managing. Step in when you see them struggling. Step in. You know what I mean? Step in. Be a coach.
What do you mean by that?
By him being a coach?
Yeah.
He just let them go. He let them go through the grooves. Oh, they'll get out of it eventually. Instead of generating runs, you know what I mean? You know how good coaches generate runs. Generate hit and run situations and a lot of stuff like that. Like, he make good batters bunt. You know this batter ain't hitting right now. You got runners in scoring position. Why not lay down a bunt? So the next guy can put one in the air, you score a run. It's just that simple. You know what I mean? But he don't take advantage of stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
And like sometimes he make the wrong call in the bullpen, man. Sometimes I'm like, oh man. Like we can sit there and watch on the TV and we know, like, man, don't put that guy in there right now. He ain't been good for, you know what I'm saying? Like, give him a little rest or something. Give somebody else a chance or something. It be like that, but like,
yeah,
we gotta live and die with Snicker. We gotta live and die with Snicker. That's it.
Yeah, Snicker does sometimes make questionable calls with the bullpen, but overall, I think he is a good manager. And when I mentioned the back and forth in this game, the Braves were actually down 5-3 heading into the eighth. Reliever Josh Sborz came in for the Rangers, and the Rangers have had a shaky bullpen, as Bruce Bochy noted after the game. He said, we've just made some mistakes here. We've just got to get this thing figured out in the bullpen. And Sborz let up an Acuna walk. Ozzy hit an RBI single after Acuna stole second, and then Austin Riley hit a double to send in Ozzy, and that tied the game at 5 to set the stage for Orlando Arcia to give the killing blow. And Raisel Iglesias, after a rough outing in Toronto, shut the door in Texas, giving us that series win. So that third game was really exciting to watch. The Braves.
Yeah, that was a great game. Good comeback. That was a good comeback right there. And Arcia was clutch with the bat.
Yeah, he's been so good. And we keep saying it, but he's been amazing. That's just true. Nick Anderson has really been a great surprise in the bullpen. We signed him to a training camp deal, and he's been really injured throughout most of the last 2 years. But when he comes in lately, he shuts the door. He worked a scoreless 8th, and then, like I mentioned, Raisel Iglesias, perfect 1-2-3 inning to get that save. But now we prepare for Seattle, and Seattle's a really good team. They're going to throw three really good starters at us in these 3 games. How do we deal with missing our good starters when Seattle's going to have theirs? Let's see what the Bats can do. Will, you there?
Right. I just need them to be consistent. Like I keep saying, just be consistent. Don't be a juggernaut one night, then come back and you can't buy a hit. You know what I mean? Like, be consistent with your approach.
I feel like that's going to come a lot with this team, just because we're a team that really likes the long ball. We live and die by it sometimes, which I don't really like. But in the Texas series, it was really encouraging to see that we were able to drive in runs without the home run, which in Toronto, we really didn't do at all. That was what I was encouraged by offensively, even though the long ball was still there. That's when this team can really look like world beaters, because we know the power is there 1 through 9 in the lineup. But when everybody is getting on base, sending runners over, putting the ball in play, like you said, you've got an offense that just has no weakness whatsoever.
Right.
And that's the thing that can put this team over the top. And they're going to need to with the pitching injured as it is right now. In the Seattle series, the Braves are back home, and we've low-key struggled at home this year. We're only 10-9 at home. We're much better on the road. But Bryce Elder going for the Hawks, and you got to feel confident with how he's pitched this season. 3-0 to a 1.94 ERA. But Bryce Miller for the Mariners has been incredible. 2-0 with a 0.47 ERA, 18 strikeouts to 1 walk ratio, and 0 homers allowed on the year. So if we're gonna win this game, Bryce Elder's got to do what he's been doing so far this year, and the Braves have to try. Don't be so long ball happy this year, because 0 homers given by Miller. You've got to try and put the ball in play against him.
And that goes back to the manager. He got to tell him, like, have a better approach at the plate. Do not go for the long ball. You know what I'm saying? Go for what the pitcher give you. Hit the ball back where it come from. You know what I mean? You know how it go. ABC baseball.
Yep, I know what you're saying. I think this series has a chance with the Mariners at home this weekend. I think this series has a chance to be the second best series of the year with the Orioles. With the Orioles as first, because 2 young, exciting teams. The Mariners obviously made the playoffs last year. Really exciting times up there in Seattle. But now they're coming down to the South, where the Braves are looking to get back after a disappointing postseason exit last year. And I think these 2 teams can make a deep postseason run. So I'm excited to see what the pitching for Seattle really looks like, because I know their offense is pretty good. Julio Rodriguez is an amazing player. Jared Kelenic has started to play really well for them after struggling last year. But their pitching, their bullpen and starters have just been really good. Scott Service has done an excellent job managing them. So we'll see how the Braves can counter with missing some of their key arms in this series. We might see Jared Schuster start early next week and have another bullpen game. Who knows? So, and then as well, Derek Rodriguez could come up and pitch this weekend. You never know. So when we picked him up last week, we're gonna have to try and mix and match these two starting holes because Kyle Wright and Max Fried, you're not gonna replace them. Those two guys are great pitchers, but it's gonna be by committee. Some nights it's gonna be Schuster. Some nights it may be Dylan Dodd who gets a start back up here. Derek Rodriguez might fill in a bullpen game. It's going to be by committee. So each guy needs to play their role if they come out of the bullpen or come up from the minors to start a game.
Yeah, I wish they'll go ahead and pull Mike Soroka on up here. Let us see what he got. Either he got some or he don't. It's time for us to find out.
Yeah, I hope sooner rather than later as well.
See. All right, I mean, like I said before, like I think he's getting like bored in AAA. You see what I'm saying?
I can see what you're saying.
When you got that much time down now, you get bored and you starting to think like, am I ever gonna make it back to the big leagues or whatever? You know what I mean? You know how it goes. Like once you taste that shine and all that, it's beating at you to get back there. You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, but you should not have that mindset, and that's hopefully something that Soroka doesn't have. Because the mindset is you got to keep getting better. You got to try and get to your former self. But if you say, "Oh, I'm bored in AAA. I've been in the majors before. I've been a number one starter on this team. I should just be getting back," that's not the mindset you should have. That's the only.
You shouldn't, but these younger guys, they have mindsets like that, man. They like you got to constantly keep talking to these young guys, man. They be in their head a lot.
I agree. Yeah. In any sport, really, you can get it. Getting in your own head is definitely a detriment. But as we see in the title here, and this will be the last topic for the short show today, Charlie Culberson added to the MLB roster, and Ehire Adrianza was transferred to the 60-day IL with this strained shoulder. Now, I don't think Charlie Culberson is going to play a lot, but it's a veteran presence. You saw what he did not 2 years ago, 3 and 4 years ago with how clutch he was as far as pinch hitting. And now you won't see a lot of pinch hitting still with the DH, but I think Charlie could get a spot start here and there, and he's had some success in the big leagues. While they haven't been the last 2 years, I do think his presence will be good in that clubhouse. A veteran guy who the guys, a lot of them who've gone through the rebuilding here and was here 3 or 4 years ago, liked in the clubhouse.
Yeah, they're veteran presence. Old Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie Clutch, as we called him.
Swanson doppelganger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we lose Dansby. We got Dansby Swanson's doppelganger back. So we'll see what Charlie does. Who knows? You could even see Charlie up there for a fifth starter spot soon, which was how he wanted to pitch up.
Oh no, Lord, please no.
I mean, I'm just kidding, but who knows? Like Charlie's expressed wanting to pitch for a long time. So we'll see how that goes. Any last words here before we end it here?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, hopefully this we get off to a great foot. We get off to the right foot. Sorry, on this Mariners series, and let's see if the pitching can hold up against the good Mariners offense. And they got a great bullpen too. So when the Braves have had success in late innings this year, we're gonna need to have that again against a great bullpen in Seattle. But without further ado, that'll be the end of today's show. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and join us next week on Georgia Sports Nation at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern. See you guys next time. Peace.